All right. Okay, so let's talk about foils, because that's what we're going to do with this little guy before I went down the path of stamping. I told you, no agenda. That's what happens. So, foil sheets. Ranger's got foil sheets. These are great. They come in a lot of different colors. This one happens to be my favorite. It's called Vintage. Imagine that. I like that it's got some vintage hues. It's got cream, so if you wanted to do cream onto pink or cream onto, I mean, just having cream foil in general is really, really beautiful. And then there's some great tarnished brass, tarnished silver, gold. I've used the bronze already. I've long used that up. We may have another pack. Those are the colors. Can you see that? Pretty. And then we also do a brights, and we do, it's like just kind of a basic one that has like red, green, gold, silver. So what I like about this is that you can utilize foils with a lot of different things. You can use it with any adhesive. You know, last time I was demoing, people were giving me strips of tape, and you just stick down double stick tape, stick it down, peel it off. It's good. But we can also use it with stamps, and if I'm going to use it with stamps or ink, I'm going to use a product called sticky embossing powder. The easiest way to understand sticky embossing powder, powdered glue. It's the easiest way. Don't be confused by the embossing powder part of it, because it is just powdered glue, meaning when you put it on, it's a powder. When we heat it, it becomes glue. If you let it cool, it's dry. It won't work anymore. The same way if you put glue on paper and you didn't do anything with it, it would just dry. So it's important to kind of understand that when you go to work with it. If I want to add it to something, so I don't know, let's add it to just a craft tag. I can stamp with any ink that I emboss with. It could be embossing ink, it could be a color of ink, it could be any ink that you like to emboss with is fine. Don't pass up the chance to smell that. I'm going to take just a little bit of embossing ink. I want to put that on first. Make sure that I don't overdo the stamp. I'm super happy that this is available now in a mini. We have mini embossing ink. It's convenient, because if I have a little stamp, I want to be able to take, it's way easier than using that big stamp. So let's just go right across the bottom. We'll go right off the edge of this. And I'm just going to stamp that. So if I stamp that, take my sticky embossing powder, and I'm going to cover that up. Remove the excess, put this back. Then we'll heat emboss it. Now before you heat emboss it, you want to be ready to go, because that's the thing. Like I said, powdered glue, right? So when it melts, it's going to be sticky. So when it's sticky, have something to stick to it handy. Because if you have to heat it and then go find something, it's going to come back, it will be dry, and it won't work anymore. But you can use foil, you can use glitter, you can use flock, you can use dirt, you can use sand. And dirt and sand may seem kind of weird, but if I was doing kind of a beach page and I wanted, you know, some background and I wanted it to be gritty and sandy, those would all work. Much easier than gluing. So here I'm just going to heat this up. This one's not bad to emboss, because it's not really embossing powder, even though it says it is powdered glue, right? So it will melt with ease. So I'm just going to go in with the heat tool, and you're going to see it just goes right to liquid very quickly. Yeah. So once that becomes shiny, you're good to go. Done. Ugly side down. Okay? And I say ugly side down, meaning the back of these are all dull. That's the side that you put down. Okay? And then I'm just going to tap this on there. Don't be in the habit of trying to burnish it or brayer it, because at least not at first. Now you can go in and do it, but right at first, that glue is still very liquid. So if you put the foil down and you take your fingernail or a block, you flatten out your image, right? But now that it's cool, now you can go in with your finger and push that down just to get that stuck. And then I normally just go in and I just kind of start wiggling the foil, and then it will just lift. And then I'll just go in and just press, get in any open areas with foil. So that means any little leftover sticky areas, I'm just filling in with my foil. And that's what you have. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's a really great way to accent anything using your stamps. What I like it for is obviously something a little bit more vintage, a little bit more distressed. Let's take this because we don't know what we're going to do with it. It doesn't really matter. Let's go in with something a little bit more comfortable to me, which would be brown. So let's say I want to take some brown. Take vintage photo. I'm going to go with vintage photo around the edge of this. And I'm just going to blend that. I'm going to go kind of a little softer on the edges. I'm going to take my sticky embossing powder and I'm going to pour that over the top. I need something to catch it. Now remember that sticky embossing powder will stick to any distressed ink. Not just embossing ink, but even these regular ink pads. So wherever that blending tool hit, it's going to also stick to. So I don't want that edge to be that far in. So I'm just using my finger to kind of remove some of that. And just to show you that, like if you wanted to do the edge of a card, you could take your blending tool and just lightly go around the edge, but I can still go in and use my foil sheets the exact same way. So I'll heat this up. See, it melts really quick. Once it's shiny, ready to go. Right over that. Press that down. Now I'm going with my fingers. And that's what people say, like, how do you know when it's ready to take it off? Like when it falls off. If it doesn't start moving around, it's not ready. And if you peel it off, then that means the embossing powder is not cool yet. Oh, started. Oh, there we go. And now we've got that foiled surface. And we can go in with other colors too. If you want to fill in with other colors, just to have something completely different. Now we've created a really cool distressed foiled edge. So now, like when you look at it, it has just a really great effect. Yeah, great way to go around an album or a frame, because you can do this on wood, you can do this on chipboard. Yeah, beautiful. So, yeah, it could be a stamp, but it also means we can do this with a stencil. So if we wanted this design to be foiled, we could stencil with any of our inks and then just emboss it. And you would have the same exact effect. So that's what I think.
And the reason it sticks is this guy, not the inks at all.
Powdered glue.
It's just that.
Yeah. Because the only way that it's going to transfer is that glue has to cool. So people say, well, you know, couldn't I use glossy accents or liquid glue? You could, but you can't remove the foil until that glue is totally dry. So if you put glossy accents down and you set the foil in there, what, you come back in an hour or whatever and then lift it off? I'm not going to do that. But adhesive sheets, so Ranger sells adhesive sheets, double stick tape, anything that's going to be that instant bond. Yeah, you could die cut or punch an adhesive sheet, stick it down, put the foil, lift it right off, which is what we did here with like the Wonder Tape. So if you wanted to have a nice thin line of metallic on there, put your tape on there, put your foil on there, take it off. But I love using stamps and inks because when you're foiling, you definitely get much more of an organic look and very different than embossing, right? That's one thing to really understand. This is gold embossing powder. Beautiful, it's great. But there's just something to be said about using a metallic foil. It's a very, very different look.
Yeah.
So is there a right or wrong? No, but it's really great to, I always think the more uses you have for products, the better. To say, you know what? I have stamps, I have stencils, I have ink. A lot of us even have foils that we have had before. If not, it's really nice to know that you get a lot in a package. I mean, you're going to get, 10 sheets of this? So that's really nice, 2 sheets of 5 colors. It goes a long way. And just to say, okay, all I need is powdered glue that I know is going to last me forever. Sticky embossing powder, and that's why I like to show that, because a lot of people look and go, don't get it. Yeah, and then you see it and you're like, oh, I get it, I really do. Yeah, and here was just a leftover, just so you can see from an earlier demo where I just inked, I mean, the very outside edge to show that even if you didn't want a lot of that metallic like there, you wanted just a small amount, you can do exactly the same thing. So when I was inking with the blending tool, instead of big circular motions, I was just, doing that little amount of ink, embossing it, and then you had just a very, very delicate foil, which is nice for invitations or, yeah. Foils are fun. Foils are amazing. Foils are your friend. Okay, let's use this one, because I know you want to see it, don't you? It's not metallic. It's creamy. It's like you want to see that color. Yeah.
Red Bull or something.
It's like, I look at that big butterfly, I'm like, that would look so cool. I want to emboss it. Yeah, I will. Well, I knew I wanted a butterfly. I'll go with this one. That's a compromise. All right. The demo days are long.
I was just wondering how you keep going.
I was here at 6:30. I've been here at 6:30 every morning. Demoing. Yep.
That's why you get the big bucks.
Oh, I wish. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, of course.
Someone has to do it, yeah?
That's right. Someone has to
Someone
do
has to
it.
be Tim Holtz.
Yeah, that's right. I don't mind, but you get part of the day and you're like, I think I've said that. Maybe I've said it to this group. I don't know. You wonder. I'm like, have I already said this? If not, there we go. All right. Let's just work with this guy. There's our ink. There's our powder. There's our scrap. And really, don't be in the habit of flicking off that powder. We need that glue there. You need enough glue that something's going to stick to it.
How do you clean the stamp?
I just wipe it off with a towel or just use water. Yeah, I don't use any stamp cleaner. But Ranger makes wonderful stamp cleaners. I don't like stamp cleaner. I just like water. Water to clean your stamp to me is the very best thing. It is. It will be perfect with your stamp. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. So this one just a little bit of water. Clean it off. Done. Perfect.
Easy.
Because I think people will use their stuff more. They weren't so worried about keeping everything so clean. Okay. Pushing this down. Come on. I always think if I, ooh, there we go. It's like I always think if I go at a different angle. Oh, yes. So let's add just a little bit of metallic. Not much, just a little bit. Because you see those little spots? Cool. Yeah, I love that. I love that look. It's very cool. I could probably mimic that with embossing powder, I think. If I had that color, but I don't. I don't think that color exists in embossing powder. It's just really pretty color.
Yeah.
It's like a beautiful cream. But again, what I really do is, I'm not worried about burnishing that because I kind of look forward to the fact that some areas are still open to allow me to go in with another color. To add that in, because to me on that butterfly, that's what gives it even more character, those little extra bits of gold mixed in with the cream. So, when I'm working with it, I'm kind of like, let go, let go, let go, and so I can put some more stuff on there. So, it's fun. It's really good. Is that good? Any other questions? No? Nothing?